Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the OPPO Find X3. And so this is my first OPPO phone that I've ever reviewed. I've reviewed several OnePlus phones in the past. It's all the same parent company, which is BBK. Obviously, there are differences between the phones because otherwise they wouldn't be different brands. NeoWin did review the Find X2 last year, and Joao Karaskira, which I'm just butchered his name, but he knows it if he's watching. He loved it. It was his favorite phone of last year. I also reached out to some other reviewers, asked for their opinions on the Find X2 Pro, because I really wanted an informed opinion before I went into this, rather than just going in blind, you know. So this is a big box. This is not the retail packaging, obviously. So there's a box on the bottom which came off in the box. There's just double-sided tape down there, but inside of it we've got some cool little OPPO Find X3 Pro, right? It says Awaken Color, and it says March 11th 2021, which is the launch date. We've also got a couple of cases in here which I've already looked at, so I'm not surprised about anything that's in this little bottom box down here. But yeah, we've got a white case. All right, and I think this one was a black. Yeah, it's a black case, similar to the ones that OnePlus gives out, actually. But yeah, so let's take a look. You might have seen this on social media already. So yeah, this is the box. So this is the retail packaging, you know. So more shiny colors over here. Shiny colors are going to be a theme with the Find X3 Pro because they're billing it as the world's first truly billion color phone. And so we've got a billion color display. We've got a billion color camera. Lots and lots of pretty stuff from this phone. Let's see what we got in here. I'm anxious to get my hands on the phone. This is not the phone. This is probably a case. And it's actually a black case, which is interesting. You don't see a lot of that in the package. Like most phones that come with a case come with a clear case, and I think the idea is always that that's how you can protect your phone without covering up the beautiful design that you just paid a ton of money for. Okay, so here's the actual phone. Okay, oh, and it comes with a charger. It's got a European charger in here, which I probably should have saw coming. But yeah, it's a European USB Type A. And then, of course, we've got a Type A to Type C cable right here. That stuff can stay in the box. So let's look at the Find X3 Pro. This thing is nice. Okay, so this is glossy black. It also comes in a matte blue. So there's two different kinds of finishes, like a matte finish and there's a glossy finish. And it's meant to, as they say, slide right into your pocket. I obviously I haven't watched the launch event yet. Because it hasn't happened yet at the time of recording this video, but at the time of publishing this video, it will have. But OPPO is talking a lot about the engineering of the glass and what it took to get what you're seeing here, because you notice there's the camera bump. It's all one piece of glass, and we haven't seen anything like that before. Most camera bumps have like a metal frame around it or something like that, to where it's actually a different piece of glass on top of it. So they said it takes 40 hours for each piece of glass. Obviously, they're making more than one at a time, but yeah. So they put a lot of work into the manufacturing of the single sheet of glass approach, right? So this is a very different look than the Find X2 Pro, but I'll take it. OPPO is calling it futuristic, and I think it looks quite nice. All right, so here we have it. Very, very pretty display. It's 120 hertz, adaptive 120 hertz, AMOLED, 6.7 inches, 1440p. So this thing is beautiful. Max 1300 nit brightness. If we just put this up all the way, you could really see that the brightness kind of pops to where it blows out the camera, and I have to readjust. Okay, but yeah, it's awesome. I'm restoring from a backup, in fact. By the way, there are so many ways that it tries to get you to restore from a backup. It's almost a pain point that it asks so many times in so many ways. Like I've seen this. Huawei used to have this problem a lot, where you would you would go through the Google setup and it would say, I totally want to. I totally want to restore from a backup. And you pick the backup and you do the whole thing. And then you start doing the EMUI setup. And in this case, it's ColorOS. You start doing that. And that asks you if you want to restore from a backup. And then you're like, wait a minute. I'm already restoring from a backup, aren't I? But anyway, back to this device. So let's take a look at this design. I did just take a brief moment to brush off those fingerprints. Obviously, this is the type of thing that's going to pick up fingerprints. And if you don't want fingerprints, go ahead and take a look at the matte ones. But this is the glossy ones, so you're going to get those prints. So yeah, take a look at this design. This is a beautiful, beautiful device. It's almost like a silvery black. I've seen a similar color to this, and I call it hematite. If you ever seen hematite, but it's a black that almost looks like it's mirrored, and you can see that. You can see the reflection of the smartphone that I'm recording this with. Okay, and yeah, so but it's really cool because what I'm really digging this year is unique designs. I feel like last year we saw like that regular rectangular square camera module that sat in the corner. Every company did that. Apple, Google, Huawei, Samsung, everybody, and before that we had the strip that sat in the corner, and so many companies did that. And every once in a while, some company would make something that was a little different, like Huawei would do the round one, OnePlus did a round one, stuff like that. But ultimately, you keep seeing the same thing over. So this is unique. Samsung's Galaxy S21 is unique. They have a unique camera look. So it's cool to see companies doing things that just aren't imitating other companies, So that's pretty awesome. It's a cool looking phone. It's sleek, and you know what they call it, futuristic, and it is. Okay, so in-display fingerprint sensor, obviously. Okay. But yeah, billion color display. This is, it's supposed to be great, right? It's AMOLED and deep blacks, bright colors, and like you get those deep blacks because those pixels are actually turned off on an AMOLED screen. By the way, most screens are AMOLED, but you do get better and worse AMOLED screens these days. So we can actually get back to regular brightness. Okay, but yeah, better and worse AMOLED displays, and this is definitely a good one. Oh, button navigation is the default on here, which is strange, but yeah. Okay, anyway, moving on, we have the camera's dual 50 megapixel sensors, right? And they call it dual primary sensors. Now you notice there are 4 cameras on the back. So those dual 50 megapixel sensors are wide and ultra wide, f8 and f1.8 and f2.2. And by the way, they said billion color screen. They're also saying billion color photos and videos, right? So we have HDR, HDR video recording. If you're doing 4K, you can do 8K as well. You won't get HDR. So they're promising the best ultra wide on a smartphone, correcting distortion and stuff like that. So that's cool. We have a 5x optical zoom lens. And here's where it gets wild. That little one, that is a 60x micro lens, 3 megapixels. That's it, but 60x zoom out of that lens. Yeah, obviously it has to be 3 megapixels. Like you on a 60x zoom lens, you can't get much higher of a resolution than that because it's going to be a really noisy image. In fact, I would imagine if you go to 60x at nighttime, it's going to be awful. But it's really cool that it's there. All right, and it's also something called AI palettes where you can use an image as a filter. There you see, I'm already catching fingerprints on the back just from what you've seen me do here. So that's the camera, and then of course we've got ColorOS 11.2, that's the new version. Snapdragon 888 chipset, which is the newest from Qualcomm. So that's going to be the beast. This is my first Snapdragon 888 phone that I'm playing around with. So I'm pretty excited about that. 4,500 milliamp hour battery, so that should be pretty great as well. And yeah, look how smooth that scrolling is, because that's what 120 hertz gets you. I've been using the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and like that was the only flagship phone that didn't have a high refresh rate screen last year. So going back to that feels nice. You know, I've reviewed a couple Android phones with nothing so high end in that time. So that's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's the OPPO Find X3 Pro. All right, guys, that is the Find X3 Pro. It's a very cool device. I like it so far, and I can't wait to spend more time with it. Like I said, new version of ColorOS. It's got an always-on display. It's got OPPO Relax 2.0, which has like white noise stuff. So that should be interesting, and I'll be checking out all of that. I do like playing with different companies' Android skins. I always think they have interesting stuff. It's always a little different, and sometimes they pack some fun new features in there, so that's going to be cool. So anyway, guys, stay tuned. I'll have a review in a few weeks, and then of course you have the OnePlus 9 series announcement coming up. And so stay tuned. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.